What was that one song where it was an urban legend that a woman was like having sex with somebody in the recording?
It was something
Game
of Guns N' Roses.
What?
Was it Guns N' Roses?
I've never
I'm
heard
pretty
this
sure,
urban legend, guys.
and I'm pretty sure like that's not a legend. It actually was like there's like recording of someone having sex.
Oh, I know what it was. It was
where
Henry
you
VIII playing
can't
Greensleeves.
hear
Yes, that's what it was.
People having sex. It's gonna be a weird thing to search on Wi-Fi.
And
Oh,
12
I-
songs that
computers.
feature sex noises, including One Direction's best song ever.
Ew. It was Garrett. I already know the answer. It was Henry VIII playing Greensleeves.
Mm-hmm. Rocket Queen.
One of our listeners was listening to the episode we were talking about Emperor's New Groove, and she said you sounded exactly like Kronk.
I heard that.
So I think being told you sound like Patrick Warburton, highest compliment.
I think there was a. What are some good songs to listen to while having sex? Thanks, Quora.
It's been a while.
It's
And also the Powerpuff Girl theme.
I agree with
not
that
the
one.
main one, but the credits one.
Yeah.
The one where it's like Christian Bale generally starts singing.
Yep. And make sure during sex you're also playing some other random songs. Just put your shit on random, guys.
Jaws theme is great.
Oh yeah, that's how we got pregnant.
You don't want to think about Shark Week during sex.
No,
Or
that's how
do you?
That's how I got pregnant. We played the Jaws theme to get Jeff Swimmers to go faster.
Oh.
I'm kidding. That was a joke.
Oh.
We got pregnant with science.
And as soon as, things happened, it did the whole shot, that famous shot where it's like pulling back and zooming in.
Yes. Oh God.
Yeah.
Passy.
And that's how babies are made.
We have our little baby here. She's joining us. She's awake for this episode, so let's see how long it takes us to
She's
record.
staring me down.
Well, that's because she just got home and she loves your beard.
Welcome to Tudor, I Hardly Know Her, the podcast where I don't even know if this is the beginning. Maybe they're going to put more of that weird talking that we did. I don't know.
You never know. We're just
You never know.
friends.
I'll know.
Oh, you don't count. You're the editor.
I have all power.
How you guys doing? I know how you're doing, Jeff. I see you every day. Garrett, how are you doing?
I'm all right.
Oh no.
It's been a long week. I feel a little like
Oh.
and I don't have a car currently. I'm a little stressed out.
This is the GoFundMe episode. If you want to donate to Garrett's
Oh my God, please.
car sitch, you can just send Emily a personalized check for cash.
That's the brand of the car.
Cash.
It's cash.
Sorry about your car, Gar.
Yeah, it happens.
It's an acronym, actually. Cars are super helpful.
Exactly. Let's create that as a car brand.
And you know what? I live close enough to where I could walk to work, but it's freezing out.
It's
so I
like
don't wanna...
-20.
Not anymore.
We hope everybody survived that.
Yeah, that was fun here.
It was our power
Yeah,
went
that
out,
sucked.
so that was delightful. And we hope most of our listeners are not in Midwest America. We hope you're all
if you live in the Midwest, it sucks. If you don't live in the Midwest, guess what? It sucks.
Yeah. But glad Garrett survived, and I hope you didn't actually walk to work in that weather, Garrett.
No, I didn't. No. God, no.
Gouda.
I would have quit before I walked in that weather. Anyway, what are we talking about today, Emily?
We are going to talk about one of the families that had a claim to the throne, and I've actually been wanting to research them because I always heard the De La Pole family name, but I never actually knew how they were, how they were important to the Tudors.
De La Pole is that rap group, right?
Yes, it is. Please sing us a song.
3 is a magic number.
This is the musical episode of Tudor, I Hardly Know Her. We should do that.
No.
I
Yes.
can't sing.
Neither can I. It'll be great. Evelyn, become a singer.
I haven't learned auto-tune yet.
Hey, don't you remember that time I swallowed a computer? Yeah, so we're going to talk about the De La Pole family. I was originally going to talk about one specific, but we'll just talk about them all because it's a very short line. but they were important.
Is this why you drew that giant like family tree thing the other day?
No. So Garrett, you probably didn't see this, but I was on Twitter last week, and one of our listeners had a question about how Henry VII could have been able to inherit the throne and why Margaret was so sure her son would. And so to help explain, I drew a giant family tree from Edward III down to Henry VIII, explaining how they all were interlinked. So that's on Twitter. I actually have to add 2 lines because I forgot them, and they very much confused our listener. I'm very, very sorry. But I think I clarified. So, no, that is not why I drew that big family tree. But I did draw another one because I had to look at why the De La Poles were important. I'm going to try and keep it simple, but guess what?
It's not.
It's not. They all have the same fucking names.
Ooh.
Yeah. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right. You got to be funny this time, guys. I am not the funny one. I bat them to you and you knock them out of the park.
Garrett, tell me a joke.
My sex life.
Aw.
My job.
Wait, I am funny.
I did have a really good joke the other day. Can't remember.
Tell us what your joke was.
Oh yeah, it was one I used on my show, and then we'll get to the actual show. So the other day I confused jacuzzi with yakuza, so now I'm in hot water with the Japanese mafia.
Oh my god. Jeff, please add in a boom right there. That was a good one, Gare.
2 snare drums and a cymbal fall down a
Did
flight
not
of stairs.
come up with that.
That one's one of my favorite jokes. Actually, one of my favorite jokes is I have 2 favorite jokes. One is really long and it involves comrades, and the other one is only funny if you know French. So sorry. All right, are you guys?
Wow, look at you with your high concept jokes.
I know. Are you guys ready to talk Tudor?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Tutor
So
it.
let's know her. Do you guys remember how when Henry VII and Henry VIII were on the throne, they just beheaded everybody that they thought had a claim to the throne?
Of course.
We're
Well,
gonna
yeah.
talk
What
about
else are you going to do?
We're going to talk about one of those families. So there were a
There's-
shit ton of people who were like, you see that throne? Mine. So this all goes back to Edward III again. Actually, not that high up. We're actually going to the Richard Duke of York. He was one of the cousins who was like, I should totally be king instead of that guy. So it actually goes back to Richard Duke of York. He was the father of Edward IV and Richard III. So the De La Pole family is descended from Richard Duke of York through Richard and Edward's sister Elizabeth. To add to the confusion, she was also called Elizabeth of York, as well as Edward's daughter,
They put,
Elizabeth
like-
of York.
Like an asterisk next to her name, like not that one.
Not that one. We're just going to call her that
We
one.
call her Alpha, and this is Beta.
Did they have ways to differentiate between people? Like everyone had the same fucking name. Like
Chew your gum.
No. Yeah, I mean, they went by their names, so or they went by their titles if they had titles. So that's why Jane Boleyn was called, I mean, it's not why, but like Jane Boleyn was called Lady Rochford because there would only be
Gotcha.
one Lady Rochford.
We had to.
So
Yeah.
that kind of helped. But back
To
then they
avoid
were
confusion.
fine. They were fine making things so complicated that Avril Lavigne wrote songs about them. Like it was just
They were all skater boys.
they were all skater.
I think we're all skater boys.
He
to
was
be
a
honest.
king. She was a girl. Can I make it any more obvious? Musical episode, guys.
Now I'm just visualizing King Henry VIII doing ollies.
Make sure he's got tattoos
He's doing a kick
and
flip.
he's wearing a random tie. That makes no sense. Maybe
He's
as a belt.
wearing a long sleeve shirt under a short sleeve shirt with a tie.
Oh, and his codpiece. Something special got to be about that codpiece. You can't make a codpiece.
It's got the checkerboard pattern on it.
Yeah, with studs.
Yeah.
That's happening. So Elizabeth of York, Elizabeth Beta married John de la Pole, and they had a bunch of children, as you were. I was originally going to talk about one specific one, but now we're going into the whole family. Fun fact, they were descended from Geoffrey Chaucer. Do you guys remember high school English?
The writer.
Yeah.
He did the
Canterbury Tales.
Yes.
Good job, guys.
The
Yes.
Paul Bettany and Knight's Tale.
Yes, they were descended from Paul Bettany.
That's his character.
I know. But we're keeping things modern for our listeners in case they didn't pay attention in high school English.
I took a class in college on Canterbury Tales.
A whole class?
Yeah.
That probably would have been better than the bullshit English class I took where I had to read fucking Ulysses. God, that was an obnoxious book. FYI, I hated it.
It's a lot of sailing.
So okay, here's how they found their way almost to the throne. Richard III's son died, so Richard III stole the crown from his nephews, and he was like, "They're bastards. They can't inherit." My older brother was executed for treason, so he forfeits his title, and therefore his children also lose their inheritance. So the next in line would be my sister's children. So so Richard III, when his son died, needed an heir, and he refused to name a Lancaster, which would have been Henry VII. Remember, I'm just going to show you guys a family tree. So he named his nephew, whose name was John de la Pole. So he was the Earl of Lincoln, and to keep things simple, I'm just going to call him Lincoln. Does that help?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Lincoln was named as Richard III's heir. So we all know things didn't turn out shiny for Richard III. Things went topsy-turvy on the battlefield, and he had his back flayed open, and he died.
And he
So-
ended up in a parking lot.
And then he ended up in a parking lot. They went all New Jersey Mafia on him, buried him under the cement. So, sorry, I missed something. The fuck? Oh, so when Richard named Lincoln as heir, he gave him a pension and Margaret Beaufort's estates because Margaret Beaufort was a traitor, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, dead, blah, blah, blah. So when Richard died, Lincoln still wanted to stay cozy with the throne. So he was like, "Yeah, I totally swear I'm loyal to Henry the Seventh." That did not last long. Spoiler alert. He couldn't leave well enough alone. So during that Lambert-Simnel rebellion, do you guys remember me talking about that at all? Our listeners do.
Refresh my memory.
A guy named Lambert-Simnel was like, "I am the claimant to the throne." And then he died. No, this was
So I feel like just anybody could come up and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a true heir to the throne." Like, who's gonna call you out on it?
I mean,
as long as you have an army with you, who's gonna say no?
Well, then there's the whole problem of like if they went to it. So nobody liked England. France was like, "Fuck you, England," and you'll see this pop up a lot. If somebody was like, "I'm a claimant to the throne," they would go to England's enemies and be like, "Give me an army and I'll invade." And England's
Like,
enemies,
yeah, we just want to fuck with England.
basically. So, and that's how Henry VII got his army. He was in Burgundy. No, fuck, brain fart. But he was elsewhere and given an army and mercenaries, which not really an army, but
Yeah.
other countries had no problem fucking shit up for England. They were just like,
Go ahead, have fun, mess with them.
I don't care who's king. I'm gonna fuck with them regardless, even if I helped put them there. So, Lincoln helped Lambert-Simnel in his rebellion, but he died at the Battle of Stoke. So Lincoln's brother Edmund, who was a minor, inherited. It didn't really amount to much because Lincoln was tainted for treason, so Edmund actually had to pay a lot to Henry VII. He grew a little bitter, and a little bit bitter, and so he went to the Holy Roman Emperor and was like, "You want to fuck shit up?
What you doing this weekend?"
Do I?
And the Holy Roman Emperor was like, "Fuck yes."
And they both do one of those like freeze frame jump in the airs.
They did.
Yeah, high five.
Exactly.
Best buds forever.
English
So-
history will be right back.
So, Henry VII was like, "You got a lot of brothers. I'm going to take one as prisoner." And Edmund was like, whatever. So Henry was like, well, now you are outlawed and you are exiled from the country. And Edmund was like, okay. I was going to come back with an army, so I don't really believe you have the power to do this. So luckily for the De La Poles, or actually not so because everything ends in shit for them ultimately, Richard, his brother, joined Edmund in exile. I told you they had a shit ton of brothers. Too bad they weren't Henry VIII. And in 1504, Richard joined Edmund in exile. Being a rebel costs money, so Edmund went into some debt, and so all the debtors were like, hey, we're going to take your brother. And Edmund was like, whatever. Edmund's not a very good brother.
Yeah, I like the guy.
Yeah, take him. I'm good.
Take
Oh,
the
that's
little,
the collateral?
take the little rascal.
So
Shit, you can have them for free.
I would have paid you.
I have another brother. Can I borrow another million? So the creditors threatened then to turn Richard over to Henry VII, Richard de la Pole, over to Henry VII. Richard was like, nah, I don't really want to do that. So he went and hung out with the king of Bohemia. This guy had a badass name. It's King Ladislas II. And I bet you there weren't a lot of Ladislauses unless they were all from the same family.
I thought you were saying lettuce loss.
Ladislaus.
Lettuce law.
Ladislaus is
Lot of slaw.
Lettuce.
This is how I feel every time I go to a restaurant. I say no coleslaw, but they give me extra coleslaw.
Ladislaus
Ladislaw.
is what happens whenever romaine is ridden with bacteria. Ladislaus. No, King Ladislaus. It's probably pronounced differently, but whatever. Ladislaus the second. Ladislaus. So he went to hang out with him, and things were a little bit dandy. Then Henry VIII became the king, and he was like, general pardon to a lot of people. You get a pardon. You get a pardon. You get a pardon. But not you, De La Poles. Fuck you. Because you are a threat to me. Don't ever look at me and my son again.
Avert your eyes.
I don't have a son. I'm still alone. So Richard was hanging out with France then. He went back to France, and he was kind of hanging out with them. And France was like, let's fuck some shit up. Have an army. So France gave Richard an army. He was in command of the army while Henry VIII waged war with France. So it wasn't Richard's army. It was France's army that Richard was given control of.
Yeah.
But still, that's a little bit traitorous. Like, if you're not using that army to invade the kingdom you say is yours, and you're using it to just cause shit with the kingdom you say is yours, I feel like that counts as treason. I mean, it was treasonous that he was like, I'm king now, but that's just, like 100 years there between 1450 and 1550 was a lot of people with treason. Just lots of treason to the left and to the right. So, then Edmund, poor Edmund, became the victim of the machinations of political kings, and he was turned over to Henry VIII and had his head chopped off. That was in 1513. Richard assumed the title of Earl of Suffolk, which the article I was reading just kind of bounced between calling them the Earls of Lincoln, Earls of Suffolk, Duke of Suffolk, so they were just kind of every which way. But he was like, I'm Earl of Suffolk now, so sure. Henry was like, I don't trust that last De La Pole. Let's send this famous composer over to spy on him. Like, he'll be buddies. And
Yeah, that's the good idea.
Richard was like, I'll pay you more to spy back. So he tried to pull a James Bond and be like, you should be a double agent.
Is that a camera inside your hurdy-gurdy? No. It's supposed to make that noise.
Hate it when they put cameras in the hurdy-gurdies.
Of course, back then it was
Now,
just
who
a
was
small
this guy
person
that
inside of
this,
a box with a painting.
The world's fastest painter.
It was like back on Flintstones, like if they took a picture, it was just a small bird inside the box.
Etching it
Into
That's
a
how
stone.
No. This is how flip books were invented. There was just a tiny purse. Why are you carrying that human-sized box around? No reason.
It's called a hurdy-gurdy. I don't think it's a real instrument. Yes, it is.
He invented the hurdy-gurdy for spying purposes. He was like what's the guy in James Bond that invents everything? Q?
Yeah.
He's the Q of the 1500s. Just inventing shit.
And your baton here has a poison dart in it.
And
Your codpiece.
your carriage is invisible. Oh, boys. So after the guy became a secret agent, Woolsey, I mean, even before, Woolsey was like, I don't really think we should trust him. So the guy never came back to England. So it was just this whole big moot thing that happened where they're like,
what a good spy.
like he really failed. I hope he got paid up front and it wasn't like a commission based thing where they're like, show us the results and then you get money.
I swear this is becoming more and more of an Archer episode. Like someone kidnaps someone and no one cares. It's like when they kidnap Pam, you're like, how much you want for her? Oh, really?
So Richard ended up working in France a lot trying to invade England, but nothing ever really happened. And ultimately, and very undramatically, the last de la Pole died at the Battle of Pavia in 1525.
Oh, they lasted long.
Yeah, it was a really short line, and I thought this was going to be a lot longer.
That's what
How'd he
she
die?
said.
He just died in battle.
No.
His body was found on the field.
Isn't that Richard de la Pole? Yeah.
Wow, that's funny. He got stabbed on a pole. Ha.
Well, throw him on the cart.
I'm not dead yet.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. That is the De La Pole family. Sorry, I thought that was gonna be a lot longer.
They did not last long.
Are you guys ready for part 2?
Number 2.
The second part.
The part of Dose.
The tutoring. You're welcome. Oh my God, no.
What?
So leaked images of Sonic the Hedgehog from that new movie just leaked.
Looking it up.
We're all Googling it.
I'm sending it to you right now.
Send it to both of us. I want to see this.
How bad?
Oh, I am. This is nightmare fuel.
News.
This is horrible. Like the Pokemon movie looks really good. Like Detective Pikachu looks good.
Jesus Christ.
What? What is happening? I can't even identify what. Yes, I can. The problem is he has a groin.
Yeah. Here's the best part. You know what the best part is? He is going to be in a movie with Jim Carrey playing Dr. Robotnik.
Yep.
Huh.
Well, this is just weird.
Uh-huh. Okay, now are you guys ready for part 2?
I guess so.
Okay.
That's
Garrett.
a sidebar there.
Garrett, do you want to tell everybody what we're going to talk about today?
Because I don't know.
No, right now for part 2, which is totally being recorded at the same time as part 1.
Oh, of course.
There's
What
not been
happened
2
then?
weeks gap.
Is it the one that I gave you the idea for?
Yes, sir.
And you found stuff for it.
I did.
And we haven't done this before?
We've done bits and pieces, but not exactly this.
Okay. So this time we are talking about something that I'm very interested in. Myths and folklore in the Tudor times.
And I hope I can live up to what you requested.
Wait,
So,
we've never actually done that before?
no, we've talked about witchcraft, and we've talked about illnesses, but we've never talked about
Like
myths
mythology?
and folklore.
Jeez.
No, not mythology. There was
Oh.
nothing about mythology like that. Like,
I didn't know if they were still like all
I
about
mean-
King Arthur and stuff like that.
motherfucker. God damn it. Yes, they were.
I was say like usually the English mythology I always think about is King Arthur At least that's what I learned when I was in high school. Because I had a whole class about mythology in high school that talked about we talked about Norse mythology and Greek mythology and Arthurian mythology. Because like there's like Gawain and the giant.
Did they actually believe in Arthurian legend, or was that like, okay, we know that
It's
this
just a
is
fun story,
but it's so like ingrained in our culture that.
So from what I know, they did believe in Arthur as a king, and it wasn't just a legend. And
because like they probably weren't using it as like it's not like Roman and Greek mythology where they're using it as their explanation for why things were the way they were in the world. Like their way of explaining like why does the sun go up and down? Oh, because a chariot god carries the sun behind him that brings the light to the day. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
No,
But they did believe in crazy ladies in water just handing out swords.
Just because some moisten bent through a sword at you does not make you a proper king.
So I now I'm really pissed that I didn't tell Jeff about this topic earlier because I could have looked more into this. So from what I know, the Tudors were very into King Arthur. So the King Arthur legend was almost passed down as fact by simple word of mouth. And they kind of were like, well, there wasn't definitively a King Arthur, but there was a Breton who could have been King Arthur. So they think the guy existed. He just wasn't. I mean, they knew their kings. There was no.
Well, if you all remember the great King Arthur movie with Clive Owen and Keira Knightley.
Shut up.
Which one was that?
That's the one where they try it's like Arthur, but what if he was real? Like how they try to go by. So like Merlin is more like this like, almost think like a Native American kind of guy. Like he lives in the woods with a bunch of other people. So he's more like a medicine man than he is like. But people see him as a wizard. Like he's a dark wizard in the forest. Like don't trust that man. And like Arthur is like part Roman or something like that. Like he's kind of a mix of like Roman and like all his knights like Lancelot and Gawain and them and Galahad are all like.
So it's like this is the real story behind the tall tales.
Yeah, like they like they're all these like knights he like met while in his travels and like battles he like, and they're all like outsiders who he brought in. I remember seeing the movie when I was a kid. I remember watching it in my mythology class. Kind of shit. But I mean, it's like it didn't age well of a movie.
back to actual.
But the actual Arthur legends.
So, Arthur Tudor.
Yeah.
Okay. He was supposedly named after King Arthur.
And that's what I always thought, or at least assumed a lot back then.
They had a love for King Arthur. King Arthur.
I mean, it was like the main, like mythology of that time, or at least of that nation. Like England doesn't really have very many. It's not like they didn't have their English gods.
Yeah.
There was no crazy set of like their creatures were probably more like griffins kind of thing or something like that. They didn't have. There wasn't like they were probably or dragons were probably their big ones when it came to mythical creatures.
Sorry. So no, I did not do too much King Arthur research, and I'm sorry if that's what you were looking for, Gare Bear.
We could actually have a whole thing on. Mostly because I would just quote Holy Grail the entire time.
I think Garrett.
That's a dangerous episode.
Yeah.
I think Garrett and Jeff should do research on King Arthur and present it to me because I don't know like anything.
I know a decent amount because I was like obsessed with mythology in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like to learn about different like gods of different cultures.
I vote
like
next episode you guys do the research and you educate me.
I can do that
on King Arthur. So sorry, it's not going to be too terrific, but
it's within the spirit.
Yeah. Okay, but back to the Tudors. So there wasn't a ton of stuff about it, but there was some interesting tidbits about what the Tudors believed in myths and folklore. So Garrett, I hope this is kind of what you've been looking for.
Okay.
One of the first things so when I was researching, it kind of came up with two main areas. It was ghosts and angels. So
Go on.
So the ghostly stuff, we did talk a little bit about some of these elements, but I'll talk about them again. So they definitely believed in ghosts, and we know that because, Shakespeare wrote about them in Macbeth. Everybody's seeing dead people. And I had mentioned this before in an episode that when somebody had committed suicide, they were buried at a crossroads with a stake through their heart so that their ghost couldn't go walking away. A stake through your heart's probably going to stop anybody walking, so that was probably super effective. And then we already talked about sin eating, which was another ghostly thing. Remember that?
That's an anime.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. Those Japanese. But ghost stories were kind of quick to spring up. Not long after Anne Boleyn's execution, there were rumors that her body was placed in an old arrow chest and buried in an unmarked grave. And an improper burial means ghostly happenings. So
their spirit can go beyond the grave.
Now she wasn't actually buried in an old arrow chest, but she was buried in an unmarked grave. But she was buried in a church. So.
That seems so crazy to think about. They still buried her in a church and everything.
I mean, he wasn't that big of a dick.
Come on, guys. I'm not that bad.
Say what you will about Henry. At least he buried her in a church.
I kept the head.
So Anne Boleyn's ghost is one of the most popular ghost stories in England. What?
I always thought something horrible if King Henry is just not to go super dark, but what if Henry VIII, after he's been beheaded, he's like, all right, well, that was great, guys. How do we think about that show? What did you think of that? Oh, yeah. He pulls up the head like a puppet.
Henry VIII, fun fact, Henry VIII invented
ventriloquism.
He was the Jeff Dunham of his time.
That's where the term dummy came from. He was just calling this little head a dummy. Look at this little dummy losing his head.
Oh, bother.
I missed our Henry VIII fun facts. So some of the lucky stuff that people dealt with in that time. So a cat was unlucky. So you're welcome for the bubonic plague because popes. Do you remember?
Oh,
they thought cats were spreading it, but it was actually the rats. And then because they got rid of all the cats.
No, they thought cats were symbols of evil, so they killed all the cats, and so the rats spread.
Yeah, because cats weren't there to kill the rats.
Yeah.
Well.
And then Curb Your Enthusiasm music plays and sings.
But so the whole thing, for us, a lot of times it's the black cat was the sign of bad luck. So with them it was just cats in general.
Cats in general.
We'll say it's funny. It's they're all cats are all evil. Go to Egypt. Just a little south, and they're like, cats are gods.
What was it that made them think that just cats in general were evil?
They were familiars.
They kept showing their buttholes to everyone.
They thought they were familiars of witches. They probably didn't like them because cats were more independent than.
Well, because dogs are pack animals, so they're more loyal to the alpha person. Where cats are I don't give a shit about anyone. Every cat's the alpha.
Yeah.
I'm the alpha meow.
I am the alpha meow. So cats were considered very unlucky. One of the popes was like, they're evil, kill them.
It's just easier to say that. Blame the cats.
Yeah. Now, some of the lucky things they had during that time period was fire, silver, iron, and salt.
So everything to send away a ghost.
Yes. Actually, exactly.
Yeah.
If you need to get rid of a ghost, burn it.
I mean, it's true. You burn the body.
Come on, guys. Now, we did talk about this in the episode about witches, but, it's fun to bring this stuff up again. People bought charms from wise men or women to ward off evil.
They love that show.
They did. Charmed. It was a great one. It was a good one. It was a good show. I watched all of it on my maternity leave, and it was fantastic.
Did you?
The entire fucking thing. There was a lot of TV in my life. Okay, so here are the things that charms could do. Ward off evil, bring luck, cure illness, prevent drunkenness.
Sure.
I don't know how I got drunk. I used my charm.
I guess it's malfunctioning.
Find lost property.
I forgot to turn it on.
But what if you lost your charm?
Remember all.
another
It's
one.
supposed to turn red when
for
you
that
forget.
very reason.
Get rid of vermin. So like the original Orkin man, I guess.
You know what would have done that too? Cats.
Get
You
children to
dipshits.
charms could get children to sleep, and honestly, I can understand why when you're so tired that you're just like, I'll try fucking anything.
Put a
Like-
curse on my child, put to sleep.
Yeah.
Sleeping Beauty had it right.
You can make someone fall in love with you with a charm.
So charms are pretty much
Today-
the essential oils of their time.
Well,
Hold on,
today
this
it's
is-
called a roofie.
This is one of my favorites. Determine the sex of a baby. So Henry VIII was like their number one customer.
Up
He had a frequent shopper card.
you get your 10th one, you get this 11th free.
Put out fires. That's truly the best
You
one.
just keep throwing it. It's not working.
Put your charms on it, guys.
Throw more charms.
More. So that's Tudor. That's what they believed about charms. Now we're gonna hop a little bit into angels. So, the Bible,
David Boreanaz.
not that angel.
Damn it.
So you guys know the Bible, right? That book.
I heard about that
Heard
book.
of it.
Yeah.
Heard it sells pretty good.
It's
Oh, that's what I keep using in the hotels to weigh down my paper.
exactly. So they believed in angels, and angels had a couple of different roles in Tudor life. So they were protectors and defenders. So kind of like the bodyguard. Or what was that movie with Nick Cage? Where he's an angel. With Meg
Michael.
Ryan.
Oh, crap.
It's a
wasn't
good
Michael.
movie.
Something Manhattan.
Made in
Not right.
No, that's right.
It's the song by Goo Goo Dolls is.
And I don't want the world to see me.
Yes.
It's got good in the title, doesn't it?
Good Made in Manhattan.
Damn
Good Manhattan.
Good Nick Cage in Manhattan.
Cage of Angels. City of Angels.
She's from the City of Angels. That's it. Manhattan.
I think I was getting the city confused.
No, but Nick Cage was was like, it's like the bodyguard, but with Nick Cage. And
Oh,
he's an
Jesus
angel.
Christ. Let me look it up.
It is
Nick
City of
Cage
Angels.
Angel movie.
Yeah.
Garrett's got it.
City of Angels.
20 points for Garrett.
Wings of Desire. That's what's inspired
That's a
by.
Lifetime movie.
Inspired by the modern classic Wings of Desire, City involves an angel Cage who is spotted by a doctor in an operating room. Franz, played by Cage's buddy, who somehow knows a lot about angels. His name is Seth.
The angel of Seth?
That's Nick Cage's character's name.
What is that short for something?
No, it just says Seth in the credits.
Seth the angel.
I'm just Seth.
My
Don't mind me.
My name's Frank. I'm the angel.
How much of this is getting cut out?
Probably a lot.
We'll find out.
Jeff gets to determine that.
I never know how much Jeff cuts out.
So in ballads, ballads are, songy stories.
Rock ballads.
They say they said that maidens would hope for good angels to guide them, and fearful virgins and oppressed widows were defended by them. I don't understand what makes a virgin fearful.
I'm never going to get laid.
I'm afraid I'll never get the D.
What makes a virgin fearful? Women, I'd assume.
What'd you say?
I'd assume women.
Women. Wait,
Or we're talking
fearful
about
virgin
female virgins?
females? Look, a male can be fearful of his virginity.
Yeah. Tell us, Garrett.
What?
I think he's calling you a virgin.
Oh,
Garrett's not a virgin. We all know this.
He got laid last night for the first time ever.
I don't know if I want to do this podcast anymore.
Yeah, you do. You love us.
That's true.
Raphael, the archangel, not the turtle.
Damn it.
Sorry.
Cowabunga.
He was the protector of travelers. So angels were also sought for their protection during war. And in fact, Michael was basically the general of all angels.
I mean, that makes sense.
Angels greeted the dead at the gates of heaven to welcome them and carried the souls to the afterlife, according to them, Tudors. And they were executors of God's justice. God had a destroying angel who was responsible for inflicting plague on the sinful. However, he didn't totally fuck him over because he also sent angels to give him medicine to fix the plague. They were building their own customer base.
These angels are kind of contradictory.
Yeah, they are.
When do they start playing with baseball?
When JGL appeared. Angels were also healers, as I said. Raphael, not the turtle, sorry, was linked to medicinal miracles, if you know what I mean. I'm pretty sure they were running a scam, creating illness that only they could cure. Anyway, that covers angels. I'm very good with segues tonight, guys. I'm like making it happen.
See, I never think about. I always forget like angels are such a huge part a lot of times in things, just in general mythology.
Yeah,
because like I always kind of I don't know why I always forget
they exist.
They exist, and they're supposed to have a big role in religion and everything. Because I'm always just used to hearing I always hear about God and things like that, and you hear about Jesus. That's about all I always remember. Because even with, like the big stories to me, like the story of Moses, there's like just no real angel involved there.
Yeah, that's true.
Like a lot of it is actually God Himself
in
intervening.
fact, Garrett, you and I grew up Catholic, and we didn't hear very many angel stories.
You normally don't, no.
The one I always hear about is the ones from the birth of Christ, the one that appeared. But I don't hear much other, because it's funny, you'll watch shows like Supernatural that make a big deal about the different angels in it, and they all do their different roles.
Well, technically, Satan is an angel. He's a fallen angel.
Yeah, he was. He was like God's favorite angel that then
he was Lucifer.
fell from heaven. Yeah,
his favorite's like, oh no, Lucifer, you did this to me, my boy. That's God.
I like your God impersonation.
Oh, my boy.
Look at my boy. Look what they did to him.
Or do you think like Clarence from It's a Wonderful Life?
Clarence,
I will live again, Clarence. Oh. Apparently Don Knotts is also there. Oh dear, I'm an angel. I want my wings.
Yeah, no, angels don't really come up, and it's
when I was researching, there is a lot of mythology around them.
Yeah, it's very specific, and like they came up in prayers, in song, in stories. Like angels were,
especially here, like you're saying, like there's different names for them, like Raphael, Michael.
I know.
There's ones you hear about.
Donatello.
And their Master Splinter.
I'd be April. Let's be honest.
Newscaster in an orange jumpsuit or yellow jumpsuit. All right. No, it's because does the Bible really have much on the different angels and what their roles are?
Yeah, because the Bible is where all of this information came from. So like they believed in it. It was commonly believed and commonly shared, but it's all based in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess when you say folklore, you kind of like, you're passing stories down verbally, but you're also, it's kind of religious. I mean,
yeah,
Roman mythology
and see, that's what's so fascinating is they'll have things like the Bible that they're taking as literal.
Yeah.
A lot of times, but then they'll have their stories of King Arthur, and that's considered mythology.
Well, but I don't know if they considered it mythology. They might have considered King Arthur literal. Yeah,
and like him fighting, like the story of Gawain and the giant. Like, do they really believe that there were actual giants out there?
See, that's why I'm really mad at myself for not even thinking about King Arthur.
Well, that's what always fascinating about mythology to me, especially things like Greek, how them is their way of explaining why things are the way they were.
The sun rises and
The sun
sets
ri-
because there's a god in a
'Cause you have
chariot.
the god of Apollo
Yeah,
carrying the sun across the sky.
yeah.
Or there are creatures like Cyclopses
Well,
and,
if you
and
think
Medusa
about it,
out there.
the things that they didn't it was explaining things they didn't understand. Angels kind of did the same thing. We don't understand why the plague is coming through. Well, you've pissed off God. You're sinning. God is sending his angels to punish you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why I'm not safe when I travel. God's angels will protect you. Like it's how you kind of answer the questions that you can't really get answers to. Oh my God, we're getting so deep.
We're so woke.
I don't think that's what woke is. I think woke is about.
I don't know. I'm a dad now. I don't know what any of these terms mean.
Nothing makes sense anymore.
Yeah, I don't know who I am. Young kids today.
So I did find out one more interesting thing about Tudor times, and actually this, I feel like it's still something believed in. Do you guys know what a call is? C-A-U-L?
No.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
A call, hold on, I don't want to tell you incorrectly. I'm going to read the definition. It is the amniotic membrane enclosing a fetus. A call birth is when a baby is born still inside its amniotic sac.
Ooh.
So the woman's water never broke. In the Tudor times, and even today, it's considered very lucky. In the Tudor times, they actually believed that a call birth was let me find what I wrote. They were especially fortunate, and they would be blessed with second sight or healing. They also believed anybody who was born with a call was safeguarded against drowning, amongst other things. Super nasty thing. Women would dry their calls and have them blessed and put them in lockets. And one folklore says that there was this locket found with a call in it, and the baby that was born was also born at midnight, so that person could then see ghosts and specters because he was double whammied with a call at midnight. He will call at midnight.
Oh God.
So that was my last little bit of interesting tidbitiness. And those are the folklore pieces I found. It's not a ton, but it's still somewhat interesting.
It's just fascinating because, like, the not so much like the mythology stories like Arthur or things about angels like this have these like tall tales essentially, but like the superstitions they would have about like things with the cats. And like it was just easier to like just believe in these like little things like that than it was trying to actually like figure out what was actually going on.
Well, they figured they did think what was they thought they did figure out what was going on. Cats. Not
Those
the musical.
darn cats.
Not the musical.
Well, and also like that comes from no offense to anybody, but that comes from a place of like rejecting science in favor of like religion or like just
I mean, we have to acknowledge that that's happened. Look at how long it took the church to be like, hey, Galileo wasn't wrong. A couple hundred years. It took a while. Now that I'm back at work, I'm able to have now I have a lunch break, and so I can do my research there. So there is a topic that I've been wanting to do for a little while, and I want to do it in the next couple weeks, and it's about how Henry VIII and the Tudors kind of brought in the Renaissance to England. More Henry VIII than Henry VII, and it was because he was so fascinated in the stars and planets and science and art and literature and all that stuff. So we're going to talk about that in a very upcoming episode shortly. I speak good. It's a good thing I have a podcast where I speak.
Spreche English?
Yes. So that's it, guys.
Cool.
Yeah. Garrett, did that quench your folklore thirst?
Yeah, that was some interesting stuff.
It's nice to have these like little subjects where we can just kind of cover multiple stuff in an episode rather than like stuff we can't dedicate a
Yeah.
full thing to.
We got a couple more coming up. I'm getting back into the groove of the research. So, I thought of a new thing that I'd like to start doing because I'm always reading a book about this time period. I thought we could do a new bit called "What's Emily Reading?" What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
I like that.
What's Emily reading?
So right now I am reading / listening to a book called The White King. It's not Tudor's, but it's about Charles I. And he was the son of King James I. So I didn't know much about England in this time period except that it was messy. So I decided to finally get this audiobook. I am enjoying it so far. So if you guys want to learn about Charles I, it's called The White King. Charles I, traitor, murderer, martyr.
Question mark.
Or was he?
Dun dun dun.
And then I also thought of another new fun thing. I'm always learning random ass shit about Tudor stuff. So, random Tudor fact I learned this week. Queen Mary of Scots was beheaded with a woodsman's axe.
Huh.
She doesn't deserve the good one.
Yeah,
Did they yell timber afterwards?
probably.
Timber, I hardly knew her.
Okay. You know what? That was good.
And that is it for today's episode.
Woo!
So
All right,
until
well,
next,
thank you very much, Emily.
you're welcome. I hope you guys liked
Thanks for
it.
learning us.
You're welcome for the learning and the educating. Find us on Twitter at Tudor I Hardly Know Her. Find us on Twitter at Tudor I Hardly Know Her. And find us on Facebook at Find us on Twitter
at Tudor Know Her.
Thank you.
Facebook at Tudor I Hardly Know Her.
Thank you.
And
rate and review.
yeah.
And
Message us on all those. Get in touch with
Yeah,
us. We
I
like
reply.
talking and
we,
answering questions.
Yep, we reply as much as we can. We really love your episode recommendations.
Suggest topics. We'll be happy to try to
Holy
cover what we
shit,
can.
guys. I just looked at our Facebook page. We have 800 likes.
Woo!
Whoa.
Yeah.
Look at us go.
You guys are
That's
awesome.
big for us. We're big time.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah, so thanks everyone, and again, just keep sharing it with people who might like this, and show some love.
Yes, please.
And sorry we've been away for so long. It's tough with schedules and a new baby.
Yeah,
Yep.
but we're getting back into the groove of things now. Things are getting back on track. So
We're helping
Yeah.
those who are trying to get caught up.
yes, that's our plan.
It will not help the people who have listened to all the episodes multiple times.
Sorry, guys. Bye-bye. So until next time,
Until next time.
divorce,
Divorce,
beheaded,
beheaded,
died.
died.
Divorce, beheaded,
beheaded,
survived.
survived.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. See ya.